Welcome back to All Things Creepy. I'm your host, Micah James. And this week I'm talking about 50 different urban legends from each state in the US. Now, before we get into this, I do want to say if I talk about a place that you want me to dive deeper into, or I did not mention a place and you want me to look into it more, please reach out to me. And on top of that, for any of my international listeners, basically anyone who's not from the US, if there are haunted places or urban legends that you want me to cover from your country, please don't hesitate to reach out because I love looking into things from like across the world. I'm already looking into haunted places in Canada, so that episode should be coming out either next week or the week after, I'm hoping. So, yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be from Canada. It can be from any country, wherever you're from, or just a country's urban legends that you want me to look into more. Anyways, let's dive into it. This one is going to be a little bit longer, so I'll stop rambling. Here are the 50 urban legends that I've chose from the US. So we are starting in Alabama, specifically the Maple Hill Cemetery in Huntsville. There's this playground that people started calling the Dead Children's Playground, and that is thanks to the legend that popped up. Basically, this playground was assumed to have initially been built to entertain children when they were visiting deceased loved ones at this cemetery. But because it was built at a cemetery, it makes sense that people started saying that the kids who are buried here supposedly come out at night to play on it. They say that if you go at night, you'll be able to hear children giggling and swinging on their own when there's no wind to account for them moving on their own, among other things. Our next stop is Alaska. And in Alaska, 5 out of every 1,000 people go missing in this state. The possible reason comes from the Kushtaka. They seem to be located in or near the Alaskan Triangle, which is basically the Bermuda Triangle just in Alaska and on land versus in the middle of the ocean. Kushtaka are shapeshifters that are half man, half otter, and they lure children and women with fake cries to steal their souls. And once the Kushtaka take these people, no bodies have been found. And with the Alaskan Triangle in general, there are a bunch of other unexplained disappearances that these people just disappear without a trace. You might find footsteps, but they just seemingly stop for no apparent reason. But the Alaskan Triangle and even the Kushtaka, I can do a whole entire episode about because it's just the whole missing 411 thing I can do a whole deep dive into because it's so bizarre how these people can be found without a trace at all. Now we're going back to the continental US and going to Arizona. We are going specifically to Slaughterhouse Canyon. This legend is about a poor family who lived in the canyon in the 1800s. I couldn't find a specific year. All the years that I found were varied from between 1808 through 1839. So, or something like that. So, specific year I couldn't find. But this family, like I said, lived in the canyon. The father went out to get food money for the family. However, he did not return, so the family starved and descended into madness. The mother ended up chopping up the kids and threw them into the river before dying of starvation herself. People say that the Slaughterhouse Canyon is also haunted, but because I'm talking specifically about urban legends, I didn't look too much into that, but I can gladly look into that for another episode. Next is Arkansas. Arkansas has the legend of Dog Boy. According to the legend, this is a 300-pound half-man, half-beast who lived on 65 Mulberry Street in Quitman, Arkansas. This one comes from a real story. The the one of Gerald Bettis, who would torture and kill stray dogs. This is not a story that I am willing to look more into personally. I am sure that there are YouTubers or other podcasters who looked more into the story of Gerald Bettis, but I am personally not willing to look more into it. So if you're curious, I recommend doing your own research on this topic or going on YouTube and seeing if there is someone who did cover it more in depth. In California, they have the legend of the Charman. It is said that a father and a son were caught in a house fire in 1948. They were horribly burnt, and the son, in my opinion, unsurprisingly, became mentally ill. In my opinion, if you get caught in a house fire and you were badly burned, I can totally see someone getting PTSD at the very least from it. So the fact that according to the legend, he became mentally ill, it tracks. He ended up killing his father and ran before police could arrest him. It is said that he can still be seen. He still looks like a man, of course, but very clearly badly burned. I've seen a few variations of the legend that it looks like he's just like straight up on fire, but it just seems like he looks like he's charred. I did look more into this a little bit just to see if like there was like any house fires in 1948 in California that could have started this urban legend, like if it was like even based in reality at all. While I did find evidence of house fires occurring in 1948, I personally couldn't find anything that could, is even relatively similar to the legend. But just because I couldn't find anything doesn't mean that there isn't some kind of beginning point to this. Just means I couldn't find it. In Colorado, they have a road that is the center of loads of legends. This is Riverdale Road. But we are going to focus on one of these legends today, and that is the Gates of Hell. And it is believed that Riverdale Road is the epicenter of this urban legend. It is home to this partial shell of an old mansion where a man supposedly burned his wife and kids alive. According to the legend, or at least the version of the legend that I was able to find, you could still hear the screams of the wife and the kids. Sometimes you might even hear like just regular household movement as if the house was still there. But again, that's according to legend that I was able to personally find. Next, we're going to go to my home state of Connecticut, specifically Dudleytown. This is a story that I do plan on getting out hopefully by like the first or second week of April. But this is a ghost town that is also called the Village of the Damned. It is said to have many suicides, disappearance, and demonic activity. Because so many people have visited this area and because there have been a lot of like graffiti and vandalism, it is closed off to the public. I do have to do more research on this, but the town in which this ghost town is located, they don't tend to allow people in. But again, I have to look more into it to confirm that that's true. Next, we're going to Delaware. We have another urban legend that is based in reality. Delaware's urban legend is of Mr. Chu, who is in reality a man named Samuel Chu. He is said to have been very much bullied when he was alive in the 1700s. After death, he supposedly haunted those who picked on him. I feel like I've also read in another version of this legend that he ended up or still does haunt the ancestors of those who bullied him initially. But again, even if that is part of the legend, it's only in one version. I don't think that is very widely accepted that he does haunt the ancestors of the initial bullies. So if you heard this legend, you're from Delaware and you've heard it, please let me know if that, as far as the legend goes, if that actually is a thing. In Florida, they have Spook Hill. It is said that those who put their car in neutral appear to be rolling uphill. According to a legend, this is the site of a native burial ground, or it's an epic battle between a native chief and, according to my notes, I said crocodile. This is another one where if you heard this legend, please let me know if that's like actually a thing. And as far as like the cars rolling uphill, it's said that like it's the it's the people who are buried there pushing your car up, or it's the native chief who's pushing your car uphill. In truth, though, this is just an illusion created by the surroundings of the hill. In Georgia, they have Lake Lanier. This is a man-made lake north of Atlanta. This lake has disproportionately high frequency of boating accidents as well as drownings. There are also unexplained homicides. I did try to like look a little bit more into this without making this episode too long, and that just led me down a even bigger rabbit hole. So a lot of these urban legends just like really lead me down rabbit holes that like we would be here for like 2-3 hours. But I mean, if you guys wanted a 2 to 3 hour podcast, let me know. I'll be willing to do it. In Hawaii, they have the Night Marchers. These are the spirits of ancient Hawaiian warriors. They march on the islands to protect the sacred areas. It's said if you look directly at them, you will be marked for death. However, if you want to be spared, you have to lay face down and pee yourself in submission, or share the bloodline with one of the warriors. So yeah, I mean, if you go to Hawaii and you come across the Night Marchers, I guess try to spare yourself by laying face down and pee yourself. In Idaho, there is the legend of the water babies of Massacre Rocks. This is a Native American legend, most famous in Pocatello at Massacre Rocks State Park. This legend was first recorded in 1805 by the Shoshone tribe, but the tribe was roaming the Great Plains as early as the 1500s. According to the legend, the tribe experienced a great famine, and mothers drowned their babies in the river to spare them from dying of starvation. In Illinois, there is Homie the Clown. This legend is famous within elementary schools, especially in the 90s. A creepy man dressed as Homie from In Living Color drove in a white van to lure kids in with candy and money. This is another one where I'm sure has some kind of basis in reality, in that is unfortunately potentially a possibility that someone did maybe not exactly what the legend states, but something like this, unfortunately. In Indiana, there is the 100 Steps Cemetery. It is located in the town of Brazil, Indiana. It said that if you climb all 100 steps at night, you will be met with the ghost of the original caretaker at the top of the hill and will give you a glimpse of your own death. Well, this is just an urban legend. I am somewhat superstitious, so I cannot in good consciousness tell you to go do this. So if you're one of those people, please, for your own sake and my sake, please don't go try this. I don't want to know if it's actually true. Please do not do it. In Iowa, there is Stony Hollow Road. There are just a lot of roads in America that are just very haunted, and Stony Hollow is one of them. It is said that Lucinda of Burlington, Iowa, threw herself off the bluffs on the road because her fiance didn't meet her one night. Her ghost is said to have been seen multiple times since her death. If she leaves a rose at your feet, you're destined to die within the next 24 hours. This is another one where, in good consciousness, I cannot tell you to go see if this is true. So please, do not do this. I mean, if you have to drive down the road, you have to drive down the road. That's not what I'm saying, but be careful if you do have to drive down this road. Yeah, like I said, be careful if you do have to drive down this road. But if you're doing it to see if you can find Lucinda, please don't do it. Please. I would not be able to live with myself if I knew one of my listeners went to this road to find her. Next is Kansas. They have the legend of Stull's Gateway to Hell. It is rumored that Lucifer is a resident of Stull, or at the very least, he was at one point. And he is also rumored to appear in the town cemetery on Halloween and the spring equinox. He supposedly uses the site of the former church as a portal to and from hell. In Kentucky, Hogan's Fountain is located in Cherokee Park. They have a statue of Pan, who is a pastoral / devious Greek god. Every full moon, it is said that Pan will cause mischief in the park. There are also rumors that he's actually been seen causing a bit of chaos, but nothing that I can necessarily confirm nor deny. Louisiana's urban legend is a little bit funny. Not funny, haha, but it's called the Grunch. That made me giggle the first time I heard the name. But the Grunch has been seen on Grunch Road, which used to be the parking spot. This creature is a half human, half monster that resulted from years of isolation in the bayous. I couldn't find what exactly the half monster part was supposed to be, whether he was supposed to be half alligator, half crocodile, whatever creatures could be found in the bayous. I couldn't find that. Just the fact that the Grunch is half man, half monster. In Maine, you could hear the legend of Colonel Jonathan Buck's tomb. Buck's tomb is said to have this weird leg-shaped stain on it. Supposedly, Buck sentenced a woman to be burned for witchcraft. While burning, her leg rolled out of the fire, and the tomb was then cursed with the stain for injustice. And now, this one I can say with I'll say 95% confidence that this is a legend, at least to a certain point. Jonathan Buck may have actually sentenced a woman for witchcraft. That part's totally possible. But at least here in the US, there is absolutely no evidence that anyone who was accused of being a witch was actually burned. Again, that's here in the US, there's no evidence of witch trials resulting in burning of people. We did not have that. So to that extent, this is just legend to that extent. In Maryland, you get to hear the legend of the Goat Man. This is a half goat, half man known for killing teenagers, eating dogs, and it does scream like a goat. Just even looking into this legend by itself does chill me to the bone. It is very freaky, and it's just unlike Bettis's story, the reason why I don't want to look into this is just because it does freak me out a lot. In Massachusetts, I just feel like Massachusetts can get its whole entire episode when it comes to urban legends, because you basically have all of Salem to talk about when it comes to urban legends. But there's also the Hoosac Tunnel / the Bloody Tunnel. The Bloody Tunnel, according to legend, approximately 200 men died there. And supposedly it is very haunted. But again, Massachusetts is definitely one of those states where it's just to talk about even two of the legends deserves its own episode. In Michigan, you got Nain Rouge, which is basically just a red dwarf that causes mayhem. I couldn't necessarily find a specific area in which this dwarf causes the mayhem. I couldn't find a whole lot, but just because I couldn't find a whole lot doesn't mean that he doesn't exist or doesn't mean that there isn't more to the legend. I just personally couldn't find much more than the fact that he's red and causes chaos. In Minnesota, you have the Kensington Rune. A Swedish American farmer found a giant slab in 1898 with symbols appearing to be Norse. No one knew where it came from. It's not. I tried to look more into this myself to see if like, oh, maybe it's a hoax and it's not like an urban legend, like just like anything more about it. And the only thing that I personally could really find is just that not a lot of people know about it. They don't know if it's a curse or if it really came from the Norsemen when they came over to what is now America. Like, no one knows a whole lot about it or if it even really is a real thing. But if you know more about it, please hit me up. In Mississippi, you have the Witch of Yazoo. An old woman allegedly led boatsmen to their deaths with magic. A local sheriff ended up chasing her into the swamp where she drowned in quicksand. Before she died, she did curse the town. She said that she would return in 20 years when the city was aflame. The city was eventually hit with a big fire in 1904. In Missouri, you have Zombie Road. There's a trail running through Willwood full of just a bunch of creepy shit. A lot of people see many shadowy human-like forms, supposedly, and part of the reason why it's called Zombie Road is because like these shadowy human figures are supposedly dead humans, so that's where like the zombie part comes from. Next is Montana. You have the Hitchhiker of Black Horse Lake. It is located, it seems, right off Highway 87 near Great Falls. This is just a version of the vanishing hitchhiker legend. A Native American man appears in front of your car and is usually hit. Upon investigation, you will see that there was no man nor any damage to your car. In Nebraska, you have Hatchet House. A school teacher ended up going crazy and beheaded all of her students. She put the heads on the respective desks and threw out their hearts over the bridge. It is said that the Hatchet House is still haunted to this day by both the school teacher and the children who were killed. This is another one where I tried to see if like anything like this happened, and again, I personally couldn't find anything on this specifically. I mean, I feel like I did find that like someone did end up passing away on or near the land, but nothing about a murder like this. In Nevada, Area 51. This is another one that I can just do a deep dive into, but SparkNotes version, basically there's a government facility where aliens are kept. Supposedly government officials state it's classified due to national security. Now, I'm sure that there's like a bunch of shit that happens there, but I feel like the legend part just stems from like, oh, there's aliens that we don't know about there. Yeah, again, just like a bunch of weird shit happens in Area 51, or at least near that base. So like a lot of people have covered Area 51, but like even if I do cover it, I'm sure it's like, because like not everyone covers every little thing of Area 51, so like I have no problem covering it myself. In New Hampshire, you have the urban legend of Goody Cole. Her real name was Eunice Cole, and people did call her Goody. She's the only woman accused for witchcraft twice in New Hampshire. The first time she was accused was in 1656, and the second was 1671. Upon her death, she was staked through the heart to prevent her from haunting Hampton. However, in one version of the legend I heard that she did come back. Again, that's according to legend. In New Jersey, you have the ghost boy of Clinton Road. A young boy is said to live beneath the bridge on this road. He is said to be very helpful and honest. I've read a few accounts that that people were lost and the ghost boy ended up helping these people. In New Mexico, you have La Mala Hora, or the evil hour. The evil hour first appears as a ball of black energy. It's said that if you look at it, you will go insane and it will slowly kill you. Other times it might appear as a woman. So it seems like if you do come across this ball, don't look at it, don't look straight at it, just keep going. In New York, you do have the legend of Cropsey. This is a story of a killer who had a hook hand and killed kids wandering at night. This is another one that's based in real life. It was based on the convicted kidnapper Andre Rand. And there's a whole entire documentary on it, on Cropsey. And I think that documentary is just straight up called Cropsey. I believe I'll post it in the show notes, the actual documentary, if I can find it. In North Carolina, you have the legend of the beast of Baldenborough. This is a panther-like beast and is said to have attacked numerous dogs and people. And it tends to be seen like on hiking trails, or at least that's what I was able to find, like just mostly on hiking trails. In North Dakota, you have the Mini Washidu. This is a giant hairy monster with spikes on its back, a horn, and one eye. If you end up looking at this, you will go blind, insane, or even worse, end up dead. So a lot of these are just basically leads to like just be fucking careful out there, you know? In Ohio, you have the Gore Orphanage. There was a fire at this orphanage where sadly all the children who lived there passed away. Allegedly, you can still hear the ghosts playing, or you smell burning flesh. In Oklahoma, you have the Shaman's Portal. It appears at Beaver Dunes Park, and the reason why it appears at all is because it was built on a native burial ground. It's also known as the Oklahoma Bermuda Triangle. That can just be a whole episode on itself, like just different triangles. I mean, like we already had the Alaskan Triangle, now the Oklahoma Bermuda Triangle. So I might just do a whole entire episode of just like mysterious places where people just mysteriously go missing. In Oregon, you have the Bandaged Man. This is the ghost of a logger who died in a sawmill accident. He didn't die right away, according to the legend that I found. He was brought into the hospital and wrapped in a bunch of bandages. And, because it was a sawmill accident, the bandages were obviously very bloody. He did, again, according to the legend I found, he did end up succumbing to his injuries and died, and now the bandaged man haunts the area of where the sawmill was. In Pennsylvania, you have the Bus to Nowhere. This bus does not have an end destination, and it only picks up passengers at their lowest point. And when they're ready to face their problems, they can get off the bus. The legend of Mercy Brown is from Rhode Island. Mercy Brown was a 19-year-old who was accused of being a vampire during the tuberculosis outbreak. There was just like there was like a vampire scare during the whole TB outbreak in general, and Yeah, Mercy Brown, I think, was the most famous or infamous, depending on how you look at it, story. Her body was remarkably well preserved, and so they removed her heart and liver and fed it to her brother, who ended up dying 2 months later. In South Carolina, you can find boo hags. These are skinless beings that creep into homes, climb on people's chests, and suck out their breath. Sometimes they tear off victims' skin to wear and keep warm. So basically, this is just like another story of like sleep paralysis demons, at least from my understanding from the legends. In South Dakota, you have Walking Sam. Walking Sam is unnaturally tall and skinny and preys on teens. If you come into contact with him, you will basically become very suicidal and end up committing. The more I looked into the legend of Walking Sam, it almost feels like this was a beginning. This was like a precursor to Slender Man, almost, since Slender Man is also unnaturally tall and skinny. In Tennessee, you have Skinned Tom. This legend can be traced back to the 1920s. Tom took a woman to Lover's Lane without knowing she was married. The husband found the wife with Tom and murdered his wife and skinned Tom alive. Tom reportedly hangs out at this Lover's Lane to kill any adulterers, basically. In Texas, you have Candy Lane. Children would go missing in the early 1900s in an unnamed town, and this candy lady was to blame. She would leave candy on kids' windows with notes promising more candy. It was speculated that this lady was actually real, and she was Clara Crane. I'm not going to lie, I did not look more into this, so I don't know I don't know exactly what the connection is, but this is definitely something that I am interested in looking more into. Our next stop is Utah, and there's the curse of the Escalante Petrified Forest. This legend actually goes so far as there's an actual law against taking anything from this forest. However, that doesn't necessarily stop people. People have taken things from it, and if you do, you will face this curse. There have been reports of broken bones all the way to death. So, I mean, who knows if there's an actual connection here? But it seems like people take this very seriously, as, like I said, there is a law prohibiting people from taking anything from the Escalante Petrified Forest. In Vermont, you have the legend of the frozen people. According to the legend, there was a poor family who couldn't afford the necessities for the oldest members, so they left the elders outside to freeze to death, and then they were eventually buried. According to the legend, when they thawed during spring, they were supposedly fine. In Virginia, you have the legend of the Bunny Man. There are various versions, but it seems like something that's pretty common is that a man from a Clifton asylum escaped in one way or another and was wearing some form of a bunny suit and was armed with a hatchet. According to legend, he will attack anyone parked near or under his bridge. Next, we're going to Washington, specifically to the 13 Steps to Hell, located in Maltby Cemetery. This is associated with a creepy rich family, a tomb accessed by 13 different steps. It's also said to be the resting place of every damned soul in history. In West Virginia, you have the Mothman, and a lot of people have covered the Mothman, and a lot of podcasts that covered Mothman. It's at least a 2-part series. The story of Mothman is very interesting. He first appeared in 1966 in Point Pleasant. He is basically just a harbinger of a bunch of bad shit. There have been reports that he was actually seen right before 9/11 too. People say that he's either a supernatural being, an alien, or some government experiment gone wrong. In Point Pleasant, West Virginia, there's even a statue erected in his honor. Our next up is Wisconsin. You got the Rhinelander hodag. This creature is usually reported to be dog-sized, but also sometimes reported as 6 feet long. It has the head of a frog, saber-toothed tiger teeth, thick legs, claws, a long tail with spears, and has like this skunk kind of perfumey scent to him. And finally, our last stop is Wyoming. You got the Devil's Tower in Wyoming. There's no scientific explanation for the Devil's Tower. I will be posting a picture of this on Instagram for sure. According to a Native American legend, a group of Cheyenne girls were attacked by a bear. 2 of them escaped and got help from a few boys. The girls acted as bait, and the bear tried to follow them up the tower. The boys shot arrows, and the bear gave up. Only scratches are left behind, and that's why there's that pattern that you might see on the Devil's Tower. So yeah, definitely a longer episode. I actually kind of like doing these longer episodes. So, I mean, if you guys want more episodes like this, let me know. But if you prefer the shorter ones, that's also cool too. Just let me know. Maybe I'll just do a mix of them. Like once a month, do a long episode, and then the rest of the month are just the shorter episodes. So we'll see, because this script actually took me like 2 to 3 weeks to write. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do. But let me know what you guys prefer. If you want longer episodes, that's fine. If you are fine with me just doing longer episodes once a month, let me know about that too. Anyways, I will definitely be posting a picture, like I said, of the Devil's Tower on my Instagram at All Things Creepy Pod, and I'll be posting various photos of other things related to these legends as well. And I will see you guys next week. Be safe out there and stay creepy.